Hi everyone, welcome to Value. So today we're talking about Ironnet, and Ironnet has come back down to earth after a short-lived pop to the top at over $28 per share. At that stage, we were looking at a company that was just going through the roof because of the short amount of stock that was available in terms of its float. At the time, it was around 7 million shares, and on that day it traded 33 million shares. So you imagine only around 7 million shares are available to be traded, and about 33 million of those traded that day, which is an amazing amount. And in the preceding day, I think the amount of shares was around 4.5 million shares that were traded. And then we look at it today, and today it is around about 1.77 million shares that are traded. So the volume has kind of dropped off in terms of the amount of people buying. There is an overwhelming amount of people selling now. So the shares have come back down to earth. But in saying that, it kind of creates a new opportunity for anyone that looked at the stock and thought at the time, I want to buy into the stock because I like the company. This presents an opportunity to buy into a really amazing company going forward into the future. Going back to this, we see that the public float has actually increased to about 43 million shares now. So some of the shares that were issued that weren't available at the time has now been added to the float. So we've seen a massive increase in the float, which means there is a lot more sellers now, which means you don't have that situation where it's going to pop again on a very small amount of shares available to be traded. Now that we've got a lot of shares to be traded, around half the company's amount, half the outstanding shares, it means that everything's going to be trading as normal, and the chances are it's going to be rising, not on these one-off kind of pops again. It's going to be based on the future results of the company, and when you're dealing with a good quality company, you can expect that the future is going to be very nice and bright going forward into the future. Though we're going to have to see some financial results. I think the financial results and future contracts is what kind of gets the market really excited. It kind of reminds me of Palantir. When Palantir listed, it was a stock that was just under the radar. No one kind of knew much about it. It did drift down very low for a long time before those financial results came out, and then the stock just lifted off in a spectacular way. Also recently, Rocket Lab as a SPAC was trading around $10. Even when it officially listed, it was still trading. You could still buy Rocket Lab at $10. And then a week later, when the financial results were released, you have the stock trading at around $20 today. So in a space of a week for Rocket Lab, when they released the financial results and the future of the company, the stock just doubled there and then. So it's the same thing with Ironnet. When you're looking at this type of company, you got to look at the future and what the results will bring, and if they are as good as they are basically presenting themselves to be, I think the share price is going to deliver in an amazing way, particularly at the current share price. We're looking at a valuation of around $1.6 billion in the share price, which is, in my view, quite low. And I think there is going to be very good upside for the company going forward into the future, particularly given this company is in the next generation of cybersecurity, and we need the best in the world when it comes to cybersecurity, because a lot of companies are getting hacked, a lot of big companies are getting hacked, so no one is immune to the situation, which makes Ironnet such a valuable company going forward. I was recently listening to an interview with Joe Lonsdale, one of the co-founders of Palantir, and he talks about the situation of, hey, it's really difficult getting into the cybersecurity business and getting government contracts. It's even more difficult if you haven't been in the military, because you don't actually have much to sell on. His selling point for Palantir was, hey, if we're 10 times better than everyone else, then that is our selling point. with Ironnet, they have the best of basically what Palantir was missing. Firstly, they have what Palantir had, which is the best in class tech, but they also have their founder being a retired general, which means they already have a guy who has been in the military, and basically he can just come in and he can start talking to all the people that already in the network, and he can already get these contracts that were pretty difficult for Palantir to get initially. So you're basically looking at a company that is set up on, in a network basis, that they had connected with every government department through this general. It means they can sell to these departments, and as they get larger, it actually improves their technology, because their technology is based on encrypting a whole network of companies' data and sharing it around to make sure that everyone is well aware of all the threats that are ongoing, even though your company may not get any threats in the present time. By getting this data, you're aware of the future threats that could cause any damage to your organization, and you're able to make the changes that are needed to protect yourself, which is what's so amazing about Ironnet going forward into the future. The more people they sign up, the better their system becomes, and yeah, like with that type of technology and the concept they've got, I think the company's in a really good space to be growing in, especially going forward into the future. So I think, I like the company. The valuation is pretty low right now, even though it had a pop around at $28 and it's come back down very, very quickly. It doesn't mean it doesn't have that value, but I think people need to see more results, and next time it reports, I think that's when people will get excited about the company, and I think that's when the stock price does do well, assuming they meet their forecasts. So I mean, it's rather disappointing it doesn't get that pop and then have that stay at that situation of, say, like over $28. But when you have a float of 7 million shares, and on that day the amount of shares traded was about 33 million shares, that's amazing. Like, you can't have something stay that high if there's too many profit takers and there's too many people trading the stock. And now that more shares have been released on the float, there is a bit more selling pressure. That's why we're seeing the stock kind of trend lower as each day goes, and we're looking at about an 8% lower today, and now it's settling around 1731. So I think you just want to look at the situation and go, hey, at $17, it is trading around at a very low value now. So it is an opportunity to buy if you really want to buy, but of course you want to make sure you have that time horizon to hold to the next results, where they can reveal more about the company and people can get more excited about the future. You only have to just look up Rocket Lab today, and then you'll see what potentially could be in store for Ironnet. Until then, good luck investing, everyone. If you have any questions, post below. Until then, we'll talk about any future developments that pop up. I think I'm excited about the company. Hopefully you are as well. Alright, I'll see you later.